Today I wanted to film a little update on my knitting and crochet projects that I have been working on this August and show the progress that I have made. Before that, I do want to show the sweater that I'm wearing today. It's very easy to show finished objects when you have such a new channel because I have been knitting before, of course. This is the Double Bubble sweater by Veera Välimäki, and she used a fingering weight with a lace mohair, but I just used a sport weight yarn. This is the Puralana from Lani Vendole, and this was in the seasonal portrait color for last winter, and I finished this one in July, so I really haven't gotten a chance to wear it yet because it has been very warm here, and I have to say even today I'm feeling a bit too warm in this sweater, so we'll see if I have to change into something else in the middle of filming. But I have to say it's very different from other sweaters that I have, because it has this very deep V-neck, and even as you can see, the silhouette is, especially on the back, it's very long. I don't really have any other sweaters like this, but yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I think I just have to get used to the different look first. So then, on to my projects, my works in progress. The first one is my Aamuyö cardigan by Pauliina Leisti, which was published last summer in the Laine magazine number 17. And let's see if I can quickly show a picture of it from the magazine. There we go. So that's how it's supposed to look like. And the design uses an alpaca yarn and a silk mohair. That the suggested yarns were both from Lang Yarns, but those weren't really super accessible to me, so I used the alpaca yarn is Valparaiso from Silke, and the silk mohair is from Isayer. I used the beige color number 6. So here's how the cardigan is looking. It's a bit wrinkly, sorry about that, because my project bag is a bit too tiny, so I have to really stuff it in every time I take it out of the house. But as you can see, I have finished one sleeve. I don't have the button band yet, so I'm keeping it together by a stitch marker. And as you can see from the DPNs, I have just started the other sleeve. So basically the sleeve is super easy because you just knit it straight down and then do slight decreases right before binding off. And it's a very pretty look, and I would say elegant length for a sleeve, because if I can demonstrate with my sweater, it ends about there. I don't know if you would call this a like 3/4 sleeve, but basically your entire wrist is visible, and I think it looks very pretty and elegant. I had a different gauge than the one in the pattern, but with the sleeve it's basically doesn't really matter because it's just straight. It mainly affects you when you work the yoke if you have a very different gauge, because then you have to do all the math for the decreases. no, the increases, sorry, what am I saying? So that's the Aamuö cardigan. I have to say I'm very happy with how it's looking. I think this is going to be a very versatile item when it's finished. Then my second project, it's actually from a different line and magazine, so I will also show that. It's from this year's spring number, so number 20, and it is the design on the front. Also, sorry, my copy of the magazine is very crumbly because I put a plastic over it, but I didn't do a very good job. So it's this sweater, which is Columns by Thea Westerbu, and I don't have that much progress on this one, but compared to last time, it is looking like something now. I do have some more fabric, maybe I can show it a bit closer. So definitely the pattern is coming along pretty nicely. And even for this one, I have a different gauge than the one in the pattern. Because apparently I cannot get the same gauge with the designer most of the time. So my gauge is like 1 stitch tighter, but it does throw off the math quite a bit, and I had to count my own stitch count. And also I'm using a different yarn because once again the suggested yarn, I couldn't find it in the stores local to me. The suggested yarn is the My Soft one by Gepard Garn, but I am using Merino Baby from Drops, and in this light blue color. Otherwise it's going pretty well, but one thing that my gauge issues resulted in is, as you can probably see from the tail of where I cast it on, I basically cast it on in the middle, and then you work it, like you will always cast on a bit more to, you know, create the neck shaping. So because of that, the pattern also starts in the middle and then goes outwards. And because I have a different stitch count than in the pattern, my edges here are a bit funky. So if I can show it, like here, you don't really see an edge. I think this is how it's supposed to be, probably. But then on the other side, you can see a very clear edge of like 2 stockinette stitches. And this is basically, with my stitch count, this is the only way that I can keep in with the pattern, but it causes this slight asymmetry. But as for now, I have just decided to not really care about it, and hopefully it's going to be something pretty invisible in the final sweater. But I have to say, I really like the fabric so far, and I'm very happy that you can really see the pattern coming together already. Then the next project is my crochet project, which is inspired by this book. So it's a Japanese book about 200 different flower crochet motifs, and I've really wanted to make seat covers inspired by this picture in the book, because basically this book gives you the recipe to do the different flowers, but not really proper projects, just some ideas of how you can use the crochet squares. So I would like to do those seat covers, and for that I have been working on the squares. So I'll show them right now. So those are all of my finished squares so far, and at this point I want to talk about something as a beginner crocheter. I was very, how would I say, relieved as I was watching a video from Future Fiber a few days ago, the video where she's making a crochet purse out of jeans. I'll link it in my description. And she said that she just learned that there's a right and wrong side to crochet. That is also something that I learned in the span of time of the last couple of weeks. And a part of that is because when I was starting out with these squares, I thought that my wrong side looked much neater than my right side. So then when I learned that the right side is the right side and the wrong side is the wrong side, I started thinking, well, why does my right side look so much worse? And I realized that it was because I was always picking the topmost stitch of the last row. And when I was looking at the pictures from the book, I realized that that was not how it was supposed to be done. You are supposed to pick kinda under the bottom stitch. I hope I'm saying it correctly because I'm pretty new to crochet, but I think I can probably demonstrate it pretty well because I made two of this flower, and as you can see, this is the wrong side, this is the right side. But if I flip this to the right side, you can still see, for example, the border. Like on this one, there is that very clear line sort of in the middle of the border. But then in this one, there is no line. And overall, I think this one looks much neater than this one. Then another new thing is I actually made an acquisition this week, which has to do with the crochet flowers. So before my acquisition, this was the only flower with some yellow, because I did the middle with, that is Quince of the British breed by Mary Wallen, and I didn't really like how the shade looked, especially with this light purple. I don't know, I think it looks a bit too rustic in a way. I wanted a softer yellow. So my acquisition is this one, the Baby Wool by Sandnes Garn, and in this very light yellow, I would say pastel yellow color. And I have used it for this flower so far. Obviously hasn't been blocked yet, but it's supposed to become another one of these squares. So I think this yellow does look much nicer with the purple, though maybe if I would buy another yellow, I maybe would get one that's a bit more dark, because it's such a pastel. It's maybe a bit lighter than I wanted, but I didn't have the book with me in the store, so I couldn't really compare. But I'm still pretty happy with this yellow, and I think it's going to make a cute square. This is also another newer square that I didn't show last time. I'm very happy with how this one came out. I think it looks very nice. Then the last thing I want to show today is related to my autumn knitting plans. I haven't started any of those projects yet, because I want them to be kind of confined to the autumn season, or at least I want to start everything in September and not before that. But I have started a swatch for one of the patterns, and that is the Aran cardigan by Hitomi Shida, which I am going to make in the Pura Lana Ecologica by Cecia. So the yarn looks like this. It's 50% wool and 50% alpaca, and I'm doing it on 5mm needles. The gauge in the pattern, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it's a bit crazy, because presumably she was also using an Aran or worsted weight yarn, but her gauge is 26 stitches per 10 centimeters, and in a different pattern, because you use two different cable patterns, in a different pattern it's 28 stitches per 10 centimeters. And I'm really confused how that is even possible with Aran weight yarn. I don't know, but I'm really not even expecting to meet that gauge. I just want to know what is my gauge so that I can do the math for myself. So the swatch is very much in the beginning, but you can get a slight sense of the cables. I think they are going to look much better after blocking, especially these two here look a bit, I don't know, a bit icky in my opinion at this point. Like, they don't have that much shape to them. The bigger cable pattern I think looks a bit better. And I do like the fabric. Like, I haven't counted how many stitches per 10 centimeters I have yet. I mean, I'm going to block it anyway, so I don't see much reason to count it now. But I really wouldn't want it to be much tighter than this anyway. So I am pretty happy with it. We'll see how it turns out. And kind of related to my autumn knitting plans, 2 weeks ago I was feeling very optimistic about finishing my aamuö cardigan and the column sweater in August, so that I would have them finished by September, and in September I could just start with a clean slate with my autumn plans. But at least right now I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, with the column sweater I'm still on the back piece. The cardigan is maybe a bit more realistic, but we'll see. So most likely I will be carrying these projects over to September. And with my crochet project, I don't really have any sort of deadline for that one. I am just going to keep on making them when I feel like it, and not really stress about the timeline of getting anything finished. So that's it from me. I would be very curious. I know that very few people at this point watch my videos, but if you happen to be watching, I would really love to know what you're knitting on right now. If you have any plans for autumn, are you excited for the cooler weather? I have to say I am. I really want to start wearing my sweaters again and not feel too warm in them. But thank you for watching, and bye!